welcome all. Thanks for joining the webinar today, and thanks again for signing up. It's going to be a really exciting webinar today. Really excited about what we're going to be looking at today, and it's the secrets to successful groups in webinar. And Anna's going to be taking us through some awesome learnings and guidance that she's got in order to really show us how to make the very most out of some of our groups online and some of the Jive tiles that can really deliver engagement and ROI. So as you're taking part today, make sure you can hear us. If there's anyone that can't hear me, do let me know in the chat window as well, and I'll come back and just make sure that we can hear you as well. And if you can share your webcam, then do. It's always good to actually be able to see you, so do try and share your webcam if you can. And if you've got a question, you can always raise your hand in this as well, or you can just literally just unmute yourself and just ask straight out. And it is an interactive session too, so feel free to actually take part, ask any questions or anything about you want to know about, and get involved as well. And if you do ask a question, make sure you're not on mute at the time, and we don't miss the question completely. So speaking today, it's me. Obviously, I'm Dan Thomas. I work for Crowdsauce, for Lloyds Banking Group as well. And as part of that, I manage large networks over there. And my experience is really in the collaboration space, but also in the design space as well. And really just working with communities to grow communities out. So Crowdsource is part of this opportunity to share knowledge and help other community builders and other people within the community networks in order to be able to grow them out, change their cultures, change their ways of working and their businesses, and be more collaborative overall. We also have Anna here as well from ANROM Social Business. Anna, care to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. My name is Anna. I'm in internal social networks and in external social networks, for the last 8 years. For those years, I've done lots of Jive-based communities for our clients. So I'm on consulting side, on evil side, but I will try today to share all my best knowledge on how to get Jive groups and spaces going with standard tile functionality, with custom tile functionality, how to make them useful for mobile, for desktop as well, and look great. I will share all my all tools I use for this purpose, so I hope it will be really useful for you. And feel free to ask questions, feel free to interrupt me, because I want to be this presentation to be really useful for you.
Thank you very much. You had a fun fact as well about yourself, right? About working on jet engines when you first started.
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit about
that. That was for 9 months. I was really serious about this, but then I entered university and became software engineer.
Right. So you went from hands-on to hands-off. Brilliant, thank you. Well, really excited about today. So in today's webinar, we're really going to be looking into those insights into how you can design groups to engage your community, examples from Jive software, but with concepts that can work for any community, and some really good ideas and inspiration about how you guys can be successful overall in your communities. And just a quick nod about Crowdsource overall. So Crowdsource is here to provide recipes for really building engaged and collaborative communities overall. It's a free network right now. It's free for a short period of time only. So do jump in if you're not already on it, and connect with expert builders, ask questions and get answers overall, and do join us in there in order to be able to get the support that you need. We're also going to be having more free training, webinar, and lots of insights and shares too as well. And you can find it all at crowdsource.com, and at the top right hand corner you'll see a link to join our community as well. So do sign up whilst it's free. Get in now and grab the most of all of the great training that we have to offer. And do stick around as well, because at the end we'll be sharing a free ebook. So make it to the end today. Make sure you stick around for all of Anna's great content, and we'll be sending you out an ebook at the end of that as well. 41 ways to spark collaboration. Some really good ideas in there. Some really good things to think about. Talking to your leaders about sharing with other people and really making the most out of your community overall. So with that, I shall pass over to you there, Anna. And if you'd like to share with us, I'm very excited to kick off.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So let me share my whole desktop maybe. Do you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see that.
Thanks. So a bit more about me. I'm also an expert. I consider myself an expert in gamification, crowdsourcing, digital workplace tools for internal, external social networks. Hope if you have some questions, interest in these topics, please feel free to reach me. I will share all my presentations and knowledge on that. And just not to waste your time, let's get straight to live demos of our groups and spaces. And I want to cover today those major use cases. First of all, stimulating employee performance, how we can actually do stimulate people to do more to cover their KPIs with groups and tiles in Jive. How we can save in time on news delivery. How we can manage all those news from different departments of yours, or maybe you're a group of companies, or maybe you have external community with different target audience groups. So how to make everything come at one place to be browsable easily and to highlight most important things automatically. Optimizing recruiting process, that's maybe the case for internal community and external community as well. How to place your vacancies, your job details in the best way, how to make them browsable, how to make them automatically go in, as I mentioned, to one place where everybody can find them. And driving digital transformation, that's an interesting topic for me, my just recent topic of interest. How you can use Jive for maybe driving some collaboration, like organizing online hackathon or maybe brainstorming. I will go through all the steps here as well. And at the end, I will also share my some tools which I use, so stay with me. So here, first case, how to optimize employee performance with help of Jive and tiles as well. This example of Jive hosted community which moved to cloud recently. This is all the dummy content by now, but this is real. This was real community several months ago. So almost live, a real life example. This is their homepage of the company. This is telecom company in Kazakhstan, Asia region. And they have around 4,000 employees and lots of challenges, specifically converting all their customers to digital services of theirs. Of course, improving their customer service, implementing new corporate values, and ensuring everybody is following them. So these are the major topics. And of course, their major goal of their business is to get the investors satisfied. So for this purpose, we implemented a series of tiles around the place. On first page, everybody sees KPIs for the whole company. Of course, they are influencing the community, their payment, each employee payment and each employee yearly bonus. So everybody is interested to come here and see what's actual numbers. These are dummy numbers here, as you see, but red means not so well, green means great. There's also yellow. And these this tile is updated on a daily basis with the help of simple Jive document. So here you see it's a nice infographic look of KPIs, and actually everybody, specific people who are responsible for those KPIs, they are just updating a simple Jive document in a table. So they just go in every day, changing numbers, for instance, like 99% or something, and everything is updated immediately. So this is an easy way to manage this kind of places, this kind of tiles, and we're using it with lots of customers. Specifically important for retail, for those people, for those companies who are undergoing some not very good times, but need employees to speak on the ways to improve, to work together better, and to be reminded on their goals on a daily basis. And if we dig down to specific, for instance, department, or in this case, this is regional branch, we also see their specific KPIs in their place as well. And here we even have this interactive map of KPIs by each region. This is also a tile which is actually taking information from a table, like in previous one, and displays it, updates it on a monthly basis. So you see, this kind of great infographic can be implemented in Jive with a tile. And here also KPIs specifically to different parts of the business. What else is important? Yeah?
I was going to say, I love that, Anna, because I think what you're doing there, just to sort of bring that up, is you're servicing what's really important to your business, right? And you're continuously updating those KPIs, and you're communicating those KPIs back to your community and raising awareness of perhaps things that aren't going so well, things that are working well, and that's going to end up in conversations between your people in terms of how you can improve that. And I think that's one of those really strong elements, isn't it? Is how can we put in a system in place that's easy to update, but is also going to keep our people talking about and focused on the areas that they're really interested in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And here also we implemented some KPIs for internal Jive usage KPIs for each space. This is like space statistics. You probably know that Jive has reports tab, which is available for every admin. But we decided to place KPIs to every page visible, reports statistics on the number of followers and the number of views on each specific space group, separately visible, so everybody can go and see, oh, my group is not so, my department's group is not so popular as, for instance, a finance department's group or something. So it's also stimulating them to actually participate and to have healthy competition on usage of Jive. So those KPIs are also helping not only improve actual performance, but also improve Jive usage and adoption. And important part as well is different kinds of ratings which are in place for the company. So here we also have specific prominent parts on ratings in homepage navigation, in global navigation, and everybody can see and can go and see ratings for his specific industry, his specific department, or for other companies as well. You also see that the number of visits is displayed, so we can also understand what ratings are most popular among employees and what's not. And here is a rating of specific department. This is customer service department. You see also statistics here, so it's almost in every group in this community. And those are actually simple out-of-the-box tiles and widgets. This is just sample people with nice pictures, but actually there are real people who are updated on a monthly basis. So people can go and see who's the best employee of theirs. I think this approach is really great in terms of motivating employees to achieve more results, both recognizing top performers and making company results oriented. So this is how it works for this community.
How have you found they responded to that? Were they quite excited about that? Have you seen some really good results from surfacing that kind of interaction?
Yeah, actually, we were closely communicating with a top managers of this company. We were reporting on a weekly basis on our community growth, and we saw great communication here. I think the best proof that this project was successful is that it was recognized in the group HQ of this company. So this is like this was initially like for one company within the group of 10. So in a year after existing of this community, people from headquarters recognized that it's working, it's important, and implemented Jive for the whole community. I will show this new community in a moment. So I think that's a good result. Of course, we saw KPI improvements as well, but I cannot say that it's only about Jive, of course. It's a joint effort of all different kinds of initiatives, but everybody from the company was actually greatly engaged in this community, and now successfully moved to Cloud's community of Jive. So those tiles are also moved there.
And you're finding those tiles like that are really creating that awareness, right? And then that leads on to the conversation and progress towards the KPIs.
Yeah, and this company also has an extremely great ideas hub. It's not adopted to English, so you may be confused by some Russian letters, but actually this is their voice of customer place, where everybody could submit idea on how to improve customer service, and that was directly linked to their KPIs. This initiative is so extremely successful that they get almost 30% of ideas implemented. Everybody from top management team is also participating in this initiative. And for instance, there was an interesting case in this company when, you know, such practice when top managers come to work directly with customers, for instance, in call center or in stores. And in case one day, maybe half a year ago, the CEO was working in call center and speaking to some customer and just understood that some of initiative which was recently implemented from this space was a great help to this customer. So he just wrote a blog post on this topic and engaged everybody to submit even more great ideas which were took from customer conversations in call centers. So I think, yeah, that's a great case.
We've got a couple of questions for you. The first one is, which tile are you using to display the KPIs and space stats in that format?
In this case, this is HTML tile and custom tile, actually.
You could use a featured document, right? I assume.
Yeah, you could.
In that as well. Yeah.
Or document viewer, maybe
document viewer.
Better. Yeah, and just document viewer is also good for mobile, so it's compatible with Jive Daily and Jive Mobile. So I also recommend to use this style as well.
Great, and I've got a question from Mansour. Do you have clients in other countries where English is the primary language, and does that site auto-translate into English?
This site is not auto-translated because all those people are speaking in Russian, but We have customers. I will show this example. This is Lawrence Snack World customer who are based in Europe, and they also have different locations in Egypt, in Russia as well, in Germany. So they have multi-language site. I will speak on this topic a bit later. Yeah. Actually, tiles can also be useful to make this auto translation. They can just look at, I mean, custom tiles. They can just look at what's selected language in user's profile and automatically display content in the needed language. But yeah, it's a bit more work for content serving when you have several languages. So next case we have, it's also a real community, but I'm showing you our demo space. So this is an example how you can serve news from different locations in one place with the most possible automatization, in my opinion. So here is an example of home of news style. Maybe you write in comments how many of you use Jive with homepage as a standard news page. Currently, now in our recent projects for the last year, we are trying to use this homepage for all those projects because it provides lots of. I mean, news stream is really flexible. It can be also adopted for specifically for your needs, and you can customize it for yourself, creating custom news streams, etc. But it's important for people in executive team, in HR, in internal communications team to serve you the most important content on top. So we implemented these kind of tiles for the homepage. They align above the standard news stream. And this style is actually bringing the latest news from different most important locations of the company. So a bit of background, you remember previous case that was a company in Kazakhstan, and after successful usage of Jive for a year, they moved to global usage for 7 companies by today. So this is the same group of company, but now we have even more complexity. We have actually different space and subspace structure for each of the operational company in this field, and of course global homepage. So our challenge is to bring not only global news from HQ, but also bring local news which matter. And they are published in specific spaces of each operational company. But all of them are getting here by text and by with the help of this kind of tile. We have also different most important topics for the company, like digital space transformation, digital transformation, recruiting space with internal vacancies, leadership blocks, important part, and culture, which is a culture space which is based on internal corporate values, etc. And of course, you can also go specifically to each country space.
So just a quick question from Mansour, just to follow up on that one. If we post something in German and a user in the US sees that post, does he see the German as well as the English in the translation, or is it one or the other?
That depends on configuration of your community. In Jive Cloud, there's a possibility to buy additional module, which is called inline translations, when you can automatically, when you can select on which language you can see the content.
Okay, so it's one or the other then, is it?
Yeah. And here also you can, like here, you can serve different content. My favorite feature of Jive is tags. So you can just tag news, for instance, USA or Germany, and it will be more promoted to German users or to US users respectively. So that's also maybe a possibility. And if this piece of news should be international, usually it's communicated in several languages or in a single, like English language, for instance. So
Right.
that depends. That's
And
an
just
interesting topic for a next webinar.
Yeah, I think so. It's a big topic, isn't it? I think. Sorry, Mansoor, but I appreciate the question. I don't think we're going to get quite into the detail of that, but yeah, just coming back to your what we're looking at right now. I think what's really interesting here is you're surfacing the KPIs of the business clearly, right? So you've got connecting with leadership, you've got areas on culture, areas on digital, and what it isn't just is that sort of stream of corporate news, right? You've got that balance between some of these other areas, and you're seeing really good sort of traction and click through from people, that you're making those areas quite clear to people up front when they land on the homepage. And is that seeing some good response from the community?
Yeah, and actually everybody can get here to the homepage, to the most important like real estate homepage, using needed tags and posting in relevant spaces or places, groups. For instance, we can see the configuration of this tile. This is custom tile, but I think it's really interesting how it's arranged. So, for instance, news can take part from a specific space. In real life, here I can add different places, like different countries, etc. And to ensure that not all the garbage content get into our homepage, we also implement filter by tag. So people know.
Not all garbage, I'm sure.
I mean, not all garbage, but not local news.
Just stuff you want. Just the stuff you want.
Yeah, we have some interesting feedback from, especially for international communities, when there are different companies involved, a group of companies. People from one group from one location write us, why should I see all the other content? It's not so relevant to me.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting also topic to address, but here we try to bring what's really relevant to everybody in the company. So here, for instance, we said that they should use Beyond News, this name of the company, dash news. And also, as you see, we bring some image. When you hover over it, it shows image from the news. And if the piece of news doesn't have image inside, we can submit default image, which can be different for different sections. So this kind of homepage tile always looks nice and within the brand. For instance, and each section has may have different rules. For instance, news can just grab content from all the blog posts of companies and major news spaces. Transformation news grabs content only from one place, which is transformation, actually. And you see, you can browse it, etc. And digital grabs not only blog posts, but all the content everybody submits on digital. So digital space is the place where everybody shares interesting ideas, recent relevant startups, or maybe innovations. So they can do this in different formats, and we bring everything on top. So, of course, the latest piece of content. Also with the tag digital. Culture takes information only from culture space, but it also can be different kinds of content. You can make its selection or filtering more strict, only to get in, for instance, documents, discussions, etc. For instance, you know Jive Anywhere. This is a great tool of Jive, when you can just put bring any content from external sources to Jive in the form of discussions. So maybe you can only leave discussions here and just specify culture or values tag or no tags at all. Just all the discussions from culture.
So that's a nice evolution of the watch a tag widget, right? Because which watch a tag widget would only, you could watch multiple tags, but they all need to come from either the whole of the community or one specific place, group or space, right? Which can be quite limiting because you can't bring in multiple places within that particular search results. And even then, you've got to keep all of that within a single widget, right? So you can't have it within a you'd need multiple widgets in order to pull back multiple places and multiple tags to get that all together. So that's a sort of a nice combination of all of that presented as a carousel. I think that there's some good thoughts there around how you might do that, you know, in other platforms too, about how can you present more information sourced from more locations, targeted by relevant tags, or in some ways how you categorize your content. How can you do that and bring that forward into your community to drive more awareness and engagement, but doing that in a way that's focused to your KPIs so that what they're seeing is specifically aligned with what your key achievements are, right?
Yeah, I think in this case, what also brings value is the time you save on bringing those news together and showing them. You don't need to, actually it takes only initial education for each manager, leader of your local community, I mean operational company community, and people who are actively posting, for them to understand that they need to use specific tags and etc. And afterwards, everything gets to the home page automatically without you not involved. Of course, you can monitor that and ensure every content is really relevant, but it saves tons of time. And you can change those with the time, maybe add additional text or add additional people, top management blocks to take here. So for instance, for this part of the style, we take every top manager block and it has interesting logic. We have CEO of the whole group and local CEOs of each company. So if the CEO of the whole group posts has a blog post, it has priority over others blog posts, and it shows here. If a CEO hasn't posted for more than 3 days and then local CEO just gets some new posts, it shows here. So also global CEO is also motivated to post regularly, to be on top and to be on homepage. So that's awesome.
I think that's a good point, because in any platform like this, what you see is that really high turnover of content, right? So even if your CEO is posting, if you've got a bunch of leaders and they're posting more regularly than they are, they can get knocked down in the list. And even though your CEO might be relatively active, he's got all this competition and everything's coming in as the latest content, and they might post something and then it disappears straight away. So I think that's a good learning for a lot of communities. So how can you make the important people more prominent, but perhaps in a way that's easier to manage rather than having to manually post or manually showcase those people all the time?
Yeah, this threshold on 3 days may be increased for a week, but we also need to ensure that content is constantly updating on a homepage so people see that there's activity. So we decided on 72 hours, so 3 days, 3 full days. And here, if you go to specific country, for instance, it's also in Russian, but something in English as well. So you see, here is this is a space, this like the home page for the country, and here's also a tile with the news, and those news are the same news which is showed on the home page, but here you can browse through the last 5 of them. So they also have the same tag, for instance, WION News, posted in the blog post or this specific space, and displayed here in the banner tile with all the content taken automatically from your blog post. So it's an image from blog post, header, and some first several words. of this. And also interesting, assume most both for internal communities and external communities is recruiting process. Jive can be really handy with internal recruiting or external recruiting. For instance, here we also have career space where all the vacancies from different countries and from global HQ get into one place. You can browse them by different function or by different location you want. You can also search them, and we here we try to leverage as many Jive standard functionality as possible. So this part is also a custom tile, but everything else is done with, I mean, all the other process with browsing, etc., is done directly with Jive standard functionality. For instance, here's the dummy content, so there's not much of vacancies I have time to create, but in real life there's much more of them, and you can, for instance, browse them by specific operational company you're working in. And just for instance, I want to become a chief marketing officer. So I'm just browsing this. Oh, some mistyping. So as you see, this is standard Jive / content functionality, content browsing, where I can in different ways filter my content by searching, by filtering by different kinds of activity, sorting by latest activity, etc. So I'm easily finding the vacancies I'm interested in. This vacancy actually has a tag actual vacancies. It means it's relevant by now. When a recruiter closes the vacancy, he just goes here and just removes this tag. That's all. So it's as easy as that. But until it's not,
that's really nice, because that's a mini workflow, right? And actually,
yeah.
all you're doing there is tagging content, whatever platform you're on. What you're saying is, in order to remove you from the feed of vacancies, you just remove that particular tag. And I suppose you could, if you're in Jive, you could go that one step further and maybe outdate it if you were there as well at the same time. But that's a nice little sort of workflow. It's little workflows like that that make departments kind of see the value in doing this stuff, because it just makes it easier to see how you would do it. You want the record of the vacancy, right? You don't want to delete the content, but equally you want to stop it being visible so people aren't going to be finding it and attempting to apply for something that's actually now filled, without having to go into every document and write a big "this vacancy is now filled" every time something goes out.
Yeah, and actually that's even more on this process. For instance, if you're you're an employee who seeks some career growth, you can just go here and apply for a vacancy just with direct message to the author of, or maybe you can just write it in comments. It depends on you. Currently, I'm the author, that's why I cannot send direct message to myself, but here you know that you can just click and instantly apply for a vacancy. And if you're just interested, returning to text, if you're interested on all new vacancies in marketing or in your Kazakhstan, for instance, operational company, you can just subscribe for all those vacancies with the help of Jive standard news feeds. So you remember, you can go to home page and to news page if it's home, and just create feed which watches tags actual vacancy and Kazakhstan, and you will see all relevant vacancies and can apply to them further. So it's also useful, I assume, this kind of functionality. So the only thing here, custom thing here, is the central tile, which takes vacancies from different locations, from operational companies, from functions, and from headquarters in one place. Next interesting part, and this is interesting in both in terms of use case and in terms of implementation, is how you can run internal brainstorms, hackathons, maybe online events, etc. Actually, we had interesting case with this client as well. They had top management kickoff several months ago, and they were trying to create specific. They hired expensive event agency, and this event agency was trying to sell them some additional mobile app for this specific occasion, which should have gamification, navigation, agenda, etc. And then we said, but you can use Jive for that. Jive supports tiles even in Jive Daily or in mobile web, so you can just use these tools here. And this group is actually done to be mobile friendly and also to substitute the need of a separate mobile app for this event. So current use case is the company, most of companies right now are trying to get with all new technologies and to innovate among themselves, etc. And for this kind of activity, such offline events like hackathons may be really useful. Maybe your company also runs something like this. This company runs hackathons on a yearly basis and on a global scale, and internal hackathons on operational companies even much.
I think you touched on some really good points there, because what you're doing is you're taking, well, there's a couple of things, isn't there? Firstly, you're taking a process and you're looking at how the software can make that individual process simpler, right? So vacancies is a really good one of saying, how can we post things easily, but to put them up and take them down easily, and how can people apply for them through that? And then the second one was looking at hackathons and saying, how can we use a platform to be able to deliver and engage people through hackathons? Both of those have very clear objectives for the end user when you design your group, to say, when you come to this group, you know what it is and you can use that, and they have a direct KPI to the business in that they're taking a process that they could do formally, but now they're making it simpler, or they couldn't do formally, like in the hackathons, and actually the outputs of that process are getting a lot easier. So what you're doing really is you're saying you're enabling more ways in order to be able to use your platform to allow people to create stronger use cases, or perhaps use cases they hadn't thought of before. And that's the real power of some of the things you're showing us today, is expanding the scope of what initially you think you can do with Jive, and then applying it to different use cases in order to be able to bring out more of those KPIs.
Yeah, and even maybe without additional customizations, like in this case, everything here is standard Jive tiles. So, for instance, this is the home page of a hackathon, which is public, available for everybody within this hackathon event. Around 100 people from different countries gathered in one place to brainstorm and to do some kinds of innovative products within 2 days, for instance. And all their colleagues, all the external supporters, mentors, who can watch how they are performing right in here. So in the center, we are planning to embed online webcam to show hackathon live right here. Also, it's important for participants to understand their transfer information, where they will live, what will be the agenda of the event, and it's also important for mentors or jury, which are top managers of the company in this case, because they can see how their companies perform, or how those teams are performing right here in Jive. So our plan was to engage everybody, every segment of the company with this event using Jive. So this is a public group. It's completely compatible with Jive Daily app, except of this video part. But I also submitted a link with an announcement, which is available from Jive Daily application, so people can go by this link and watch the video live from their mobiles as well. And each team will have their specific private group for the event, where they will be collaborating, for instance, working together on a presentation or brainstorming on ideas, etc. For this group, we prepared, for those people, we prepared some infographic like instructions manuals, how they can upload Jive for Office, for instance, and collaborate on presentation in real time. Yeah, and I would recommend this kind of infographic tools for you to make Jive trainings and Jive how-tos nice looking and appealing for people and easily browsable. So this is the standard team space. It's also completely compatible with Jive Daily, where we have calls to actions for people to understand what they can do within this group, and they can share ideas, create ideas, vote on them, discuss them, work on presentations, because they will be showing these presentations in 2 days, and they need to, everybody can work on specific slide, just putting it together in Jive, having one link instead of different versions, and not waste their time on not so important things, because they have limited time for 2 days to present real working prototype of their innovation. And they can also ask for help external people. So for instance, you have some expert, like software developer or designer or product designer who's not working in your company, but you can bring him in within this externally accessible group, and or you can share specific content with him. You know that Jive groups allow such kinds of things here. So he can also help you during these 2 days of hackathon. So you know this content edited by non-members. So you can invite non-members of your private group, and they will see only this file on which you are working on. We are also planning that all the jury of the hackathon mentors will be administrators, will have access to those groups. So they will have ability to monitor in real time collaboration of this company, what they are currently working on, how they are doing this, what's their idea, how they collaborate on presentation, etc. So I think it's also important, because one of the goals of this event for the top managers is to get internal talents together, and then maybe combine team out of them and produce real product, which will grow their market share, etc. So this is.
I mean, I really like this, because what's happening here is you've got a group. It's aligned with your KPIs in terms of exactly what it is the business wants, and when they come into this group, there's clear calls to action as to what people are trying to achieve, right? So when someone comes in, they don't have to look around to find what the purpose of the group is. It's quite clear what the purpose of the group is, and that's illustrated by the very first banner that you've got right there in terms of sharing ideas, working in a presentation, asking somebody to help. Those are the 3 main calls to action wherever you go, and like you're showing as well now, it's on mobile too. So you come into that group, you have a clear call to action, you do that action, and potentially then be engaged in that group. And that's a key part of creating successful groups, isn't it? Is being clear what the particular action is that you want people to take when they come into that group, being clear as to the interactions that you're expecting them, and giving them guidance, giving them things that are going to help them, like you're showing now, in terms of giving them information about transfer and accommodation and agendas, i.e. upfront, giving them value straight away, and aligning all of that with your business objectives. That makes for a strong, successful group, right?
Yeah, saving some money on additional mobile app development, etc. So I think this is also a great example of out-of-the-box functionality of Jive, which can be leveraged here. Another example of out-of-the-box functionality is also, this is internal network, but this is interesting maybe because this company has different locations and different languages, etc. So we used, and also has different brands. So for instance, this is like informal brand, and we have different kind of late heart, for instance, group, which is more formal brand, and everything is implemented within one Jive community, so you're not spending lots of money here. But in the same time, you have different branding, different identity within this community. So here, standard functionality, actually pretty simple design, but it pays attention to the most important things, to the featured news. And you see, we here implemented a different language approach with the help of such kind of flags. This is actually part of the image, but people just understand that this news will be in Polish, and this news will be, piece of news will be in German, etc. So it's also a way
I really like
to
that,
easily communicate it.
Because you don't often see multiple languages happening simultaneously, right? How did they receive, you know, that? Have you found that actually that's been worked really well to kind of integrate the languages and be clear on the expectations to say you're going to see other languages and we want that, rather than trying to create, you know, different editions of the same community or trying to translate everything into different languages all the time?
Yeah, and what kind of tiles we have used here? My favorite kind of tile, this is super list style, which is actually can show different kinds of content, any kind of type of selection of content. Current limitation is that it's not looking really nice compared to, for instance, custom tiles. So this is just a list, and for instance, custom tile can be like more nice kind of list, etc. But we have promise from Jive that they will deliver these nice looking super list styles within the next month or several months. So I hope it will be improving here. This is standard carousel tile, and by experimenting with Jive, I found it that the best look of this carousel tile is in this kind of layout. So one small narrow row and another second row is column, sorry, and second column is white column. So the two column layout, top of the page. If you have, if you create image which border background is the same as the background of your site, it looks even more modern, like here. So actually, this is a rectangular image with white background, but because our site is also white, it looks like it's like transparent border image. So below is just like our team, featured people tile, etc. And I think it's simple and clear how we can use. Of course, it's also mobile friendly in this case and upgrade friendly.
Can you take us back? You had some KPIs right at the start. Can you just take us back to some of those? Because
Yeah.
I think it would be good to just revisit. Sorry, some of the KPIs you put in your presentation. Right at the start.
So this is KPIs of recruiting space.
Perfect.
I showed recently.
Yeah, this is great.
So it shows like 51% for the last several months. We have 50% of conversion from our vacancies to the closed vacancies. So we think it's a great result. We presented that in Jive World application for Jive World Award. This is how this tile looks in mobile. So what's good about tiles, that they are mobile friendly, that they can be. This is how career tile also looks in mobile. Everything is adapted and responsive in this case. This is like space of a blog, top management leadership blog looks like. So this is all posts from CEO of the company. The last post is brought with the image from this post, all others just with headers and some preview. And I also wanted to show you how this looks, those groups on Digiton Hackathon look in Jive Daily. So for mobile web and for Jive Daily, there are slight differences in looks, but just recently Jive enabled some tiles, their standard tiles, to be added to Jive Daily, so you can actually customize your mobile application with those tiles. I think it's a great possibility. So here how our hackathon homepage looks, and here how banner tiles look. So this tile is actually document viewer. Document viewer tile is compatible with Jive Daily, so I use it heavily now. And those are just images produced by me in PowerPoint. I highly recommend using PowerPoint for making some banners, etc. So for instance, if you see, this is branded PowerPoint presentation of this company, for which I have different, their colors, etc., their branding, feeling, and just I can compile all I need, all the banners, all the images, icons. In PowerPoint, I don't need to know Photoshop, and I don't need to spend lots of time on that. We use this kind of PowerPoints for our customers especially for educating leaders of spaces and groups, for them doing design themselves, especially on the launch phase when we have to launch 300 spaces till specific deadline. So we use these kinds of PowerPoints for everybody to be able to create some nice content. This is standard tile. This how banner tile looks. I think is great within Jive Daily. So you can leverage that as well.
So I think what you're sort of showcasing there then is you've got your group. The group is designed well, it's targeted towards what they're looking to see, but it's also mobile responsive and mobile active, right? And it needs to look that way from whatever device that they're on. But equally, you can still produce that group and the assets for that group through PowerPoint easily as well. So not only are you saying this can look good, you're also saying it's also sustainable, right? You can continue to create your own graphics and assets. Whereas if I gave you something that looks really nice, but it was only relevant for a month, then suddenly I've got to manage this thing and I don't have the expertise in-house to be able to do that. So actually what you're saying is not only you need to keep that end point in mind, right? If you want to have that successful group, you need to keep that end point in mind and put those things in place, but you've shared some great ideas about how you can do that.
Yeah, actually, we always come across situation when we launch community and there's initial investment in designer who can draw nice pictures of the home page, but when community becomes live and all the news, all the different content appears, this homepage looks not so nice because images from news are not so high quality ones, etc. So for this purpose, I'm sharing all these useful design tools. I'm personally using a favorite. So this is pexels.com. Maybe you know this resource, but it's a huge amount of images, high quality, free, which you can browse easily and use for your news, to have nice banners of the news, use for your call to action buttons within PowerPoints, etc. So highly recommend this tool. Another tool we have is Icon Finder. All those icons from this presentation and from all groups I showed are taken from this resource. So there are different kinds of such resources like the Noun project, etc. But I find Icon Finder the most useful because what's important about icons, you use them in multiple places, in multiple locations, and they should be consistent. They should be in the same style. So here you can just find what style you like. For instance, I like this style, and then I can find all the collection of these icons. So now I'm For instance, I like this guy, and I can use other icons from these collections for other banners. So all my content looks consistent, etc. It's really easy to use. Also, what's really useful is the infographic tools you can leverage. This is like picture chart. Actually, I also use infogram tool, but infogram is mostly for designing some kind of presentations, etc. And if you need to create some user manuals, like step-by-step guides, this tool is much useful, because they already have some pre-built templates, free templates, which you can use. For instance, this template I used today to prepare this kind of infographic I showed on how to use how to collaborate on presentations. So it's really easy, even faster than PowerPoint, and highly recommend that. And what else is GIF animations. Currently, GIF animations are really useful also for making user manuals, for adding some dynamics to a presentation. Like here, for instance, this is the GIF animation on this slide. So you can, I recommend to use which is called screen to GIF. So you can just screen to GIF. So you can just screen share what you have and create GIF animation from it. What's cool about GIFs is that they don't require video players. They are supported within mobile. So for instance, if you want, in this case, I could not insert a GIF animation because that's the online translation, live translation. But if I had to embed some video here, yeah, maybe some manual, and I needed to ensure mobile Jive Daily, for instance, support, I would have used GIF animation here, because it's much easier to display it in mobile devices, etc. So this is also useful too. And of course, now you saw the different approaches with standard tiles, out-of-the-box tiles, and custom tiles. I also highly use in our practice tiles from Social Age guys. They are, maybe you heard about them on Jive World. They are one of the best Jive partners in the field. And they have really huge kinds of tiles, like here. This is their demo. Maybe I will. So in this case, if you need some real flexibility, you can just, for instance, get this tile and have all the different kinds of configurations available, so you don't need to program anything, you don't need to know HTML even, and you can select layouts, submit your data, select colors, upload images, and it will look nice in also 20 minutes or so. So these are the tools which you can use to make great groups, nice groups, to do it faster. And I hope it was useful. Maybe you have some additional questions.
Those are great. I've been a designer for years, and some of those are new to me as well. I've seen Pexels is really good. I use one that's called Unsplash, which isn't a particularly great name for a website, but it's good for it's really good for imagery. It's really high quality imagery, and it's all free as well. So it's got some lovely photos in there that you can use, and they just stand out much more, and they're just better taken and better stock, and they're not a bunch of people high-fiving over a desk, you know, as you often see in the stock industry for a lot of this stuff. But could you perhaps you could just jump back to your presentation, and do you have a few more numbers around some of those groups that you shared and some of the perhaps the success you've seen? So you shared, I think it was that one, was it number 5, slide 5? How have you found the response?
That was the number.
Yeah, that's it. Have you found the responses from the community in terms of some of these groups? You looked at the hackathon ones. How were they received, and did the company see
The
a good success
hackathon
out of
is
that?
actually, yes, sorry. The hackathon is actually in plan, so it will be run in a month. But we, before, as I mentioned, we had a kickoff, top management kickoff group, which was organized in a similar way. And we saved around $15,000 only for substituting the need of mobile app. In this case, I think it's a great saving. And of
Wow.
course, we also engaged our top managers in more ways how to use Jive, because during this kickoff, they had some quest which was running through Jive. They will also share their feedback after the event, and it's all stored in Jive, so it can be used for the next events, etc. So I think these kind of groups are really useful here. And for this specific hackathon, I hope our best KPI will be that some idea will actually turn into real life product. But we will see that in a year, I assume, maybe faster. But I hope everything designed in here was just with the goal to engage people more, to create more high quality innovation projects. As I said, engaging external contributors, collaborating more, engaging their colleagues to do some additional research for them, etc. So I think this is a great tool to ensure them they will produce more high quality ideas. And actually, this kind of community, this specific community is growing really fast and great. We submitted some statistics to Jive Transformation Award, and they were really promising. We are growing 30% each quarter right
Whoa.
now, because
I mean, you've only got a few more quarters, and then you're 100%, right?
And then that's a different challenge, how to make them engaged. So you know about this hype of adoption. But yeah, currently it's great statistics. And I also believe in such that quantity produces quality. So we hope that this amount of usage will also help to ensure business results. And also about this case on values, for instance, I showed this values part here. It's also important for users to, for such companies like great companies, to transform their value mindset or from old ways of doing business to the new ways. And it may be not so easily trackable in terms of business value, but I think it's really important in those times of transformation to use Jive, because people, it shows in customer service, it shows and it has more long-term results, but it will pay itself for sharing values, sharing ideas, sharing approaches to customer service within Jive community as well.
Thank you so much. And yeah, just to wrap up on that thing. So if you can just go back to that slide you just had, you know, so you talked about employee performance and having that really focused, sorry, if you go back to slide 4, if you talked about putting the KPIs on the homepage, right, making it clear exactly what it was that was important to your business, giving them clear calls to action, and really being transparent about what's working and what isn't, right? Because you showed as many, you know, you showed the reds as well as the greens, right? Which is really important to drive that community engagement, is that transparency and that ability to be able to have real conversations around what needs to change and what isn't, and not just good news all the time. And then you talked about the news delivery, and you gave us some really good examples of how you can filter out that news according to the right area that people want to see, and how you can drive specific tags that's going to curate your content and provide people with really focused information, and also ones that prioritize leadership, blog post and different leaders over perhaps lesser leaders. So you talked about the CEO coming up further up than other people, so that you get more visibility for some of your really key people and your key messages there. You talked about vacancies in that use case, about how you can showcase your vacancies in your business and how you can make them really transparent. But you also talked about how you can speed up the process for listing those vacancies and speed up the process for applying for those vacancies, both for the applicant, but also for the people that are putting up those vacancies. And then you showed us hackathons as well, which is a great example of how you can bring people in and stimulate them to share ideas. And all of that was facilitated by good design, which you've done great at just capping off to say, actually, that good design is totally possible in PowerPoint, right? With all of these, with these tools, i.e., it's not just about bringing a designer in and putting these things in once and then it kind of slowly falling apart and losing its edge, which is what we see a lot of, right? It's that, how can you both create a use case, target those people, align it with KPIs, but then have that group and that community have a long shelf life by giving people the tools that they need in order to be able to support that community properly and have it continually stay afloat as well. So that's been fascinating, and it's been a great introduction on that, and thank you so much for taking us through it. If anyone has any questions, click that raise a hand link. If you're on mobile, you should see a raise a hand at the bottom, or go to your chat window as well, and go into the chat window and make sure you ask Anna a question after all of that great content. I'm just looking at time, so what I'll do is I'll just finish, if that's all right, Anna, with just a little reminder about some of our crowdsource things, if you guys haven't got into it as well. So I'll just grab the screen back if I could, or if you can unshare your screen for me, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, you can share over me.
So I just want to talk to you guys very quickly about crowdsource again. So part of really focusing on reaching these people is, an important part of putting these things in place is having the support that you need in order to be able to do that, and it is difficult to support your community, and people like Anna and ANROM are there to help you put in place what you need in order to deliver your use cases and your KPIs and make them look great and give you the functionality that you need in order to be able to deliver them. But you need support with that. And if you're looking to build a community and you want to be part of a network of professionals, then do come over to Crowdsource and have a look, because we're there to help you with expert advice, and we're there to help you move past that, how that collaboration is going to work in your business, because collaboration is complicated and it's a change for people to work through, and you need to help people through those behaviors and those changes and those ways of working to be able to do that. And that key part, like Anna says, is highlighting exactly what it is to do and giving them actions and being clear on what it is that they want, and bringing them in and having support with that is a really important part of being able to do that, because it takes more than one person to do that. And whether you are creating the use case, engaging leadership, creating adoption plans, developing infrastructures, creating your user experience, any of that, wherever you are in your journey, there's a lot to know. And what you don't want to do is start that journey off and try and learn and find it out as you go. There are experts out there, and there are people to connect with that can help you be successful from the get-go. And Anna yourself is in the community too, and we're here to support communities and businesses and people like yourself find the right tools and the right resources and the right advice and guidance that you need in order to be able to do that and ultimately make collaboration happen for your business. And part of that is our network. Now, our network is based in Slack. And Slack is an instant messaging network, so you can come into here, you can have conversations with people, You can literally have live conversations in instant messaging chat as well. You can create your own channels and you can go around that and get advice and guidance. And you can also catch all of our training and our webinars and everything out there and as well. And we're doing a bit on Working Out Loud Week too as well, for you guys to get involved with. And that is all amazingly free right now, and it won't be free for long. So do come and join us and connect with Anna, you know, afterwards, and ask her those sort of questions that you need, and you know, talk more about some of the stuff that she's talked about, and do come and connect over with us afterwards. Now you'll find all of that on the website, on the Crowdsauce website. There's a link right at the top to go straight over to it. And join our community there, and it only takes a few minutes to apply, and you can grab your bit there. Just hit this big green button in the middle and come over and join us, and start connecting with us outside of this webinar as well. Ben had a question around, is this being recorded? So the answer is yes. So we'll be sharing this recording afterwards as well. And for all of you still with us, I'll send you on a ebook from us as well. Thank you for staying with us for this whole time, and I'll send you on an ebook afterwards that you guys can go through. 41 ways to spark collaboration. Loads of really good ideas about engaging leaders, engaging your people, creating things like hackathons and working groups, and helping people work through those behaviors and those actions as well. Thank you so much, Jennifer and Carol, for that great feedback as well. Thank you so much, Anna, for taking us through that. That's been really enlightening, and we really appreciate it.